I believe that a single good movie can change your entire life.
God, I love Chainsaw Man. Sorry, no time for an intro. I'm gonna hop right into it, but I love it so damn much. I've seen the series and now this film, and I love it. Although I will admit, I did know pretty much everything that was gonna come out of it, considering reading the manga and all that. But yet, I was there at the edge of my seat watching it, still consuming, becoming baffled, and just trying to process it all. I love anime and manga, or animanga, I guess that is the correct terminology, I think. But I wouldn't consider myself an avid manga reader. But when it comes to Chainsaw Man, oh, I'm catching up. I've finished part 1, I've been past that. I'm on part 2 right now, pretty early on. But I have seen all of the original first Chainsaw Man story. And with that, I've seen Denji grow with every page and every panel, and I fell in love with the series pretty quickly. So now, to no surprise, seeing the story go from page to moving picture, I'm grateful at the fact that I get to consume it all again, and it has been one hell of an experience. From the overall story itself to this individual arc, and just all the layers upon layers that reveal themselves through these said stories or the characters, and even sometimes the artwork completely by itself, it is something truly special. And thankfully I can say the same for everything that's been animated thus far, because holy did they deliver. Like I said, this season, and now this film, and so far they've translated it perfectly, and I cannot wait to see what's next to come. But for this moment in time, here I am in front of my microphone, talking about my passions yet again, and this time it is Chainsaw Man. And not only Chainsaw Man entirely, but also Chainsaw Man, the REZE ARC. And oh man, every frame, every piece of dialogue, just beautifully crafted, like I said, page to moving picture, and with, of course, the music. Oh my god, the music, man. Don't get me started. Holy shit. Side note, if you expected something other than me glazing this film, I'm sorry to disappoint you, but I'm also definitely not sorry for geeking. It has earned it. Staying on topic though, with this movie releasing as well as the first season already been out, it has pushed the series itself to lengths that I'm glad it has reached, but also with that, it has pushed it into the public eye and within what we could call mainstream. And it's kind of funny to think about because, don't get me wrong, it definitely deserves it and all the love and attention that it's been getting, but for the longest time, it was kind of the exact opposite. It was weird, it was bizarre, it was something that people didn't even give a chance or would be like shunned away and had their backs turned to it for whatever reason. But now people are starting to get it. People are putting their backs behind it and are dying behind it and are becoming fans. And just to be clear, I'm not acting as if this series is like a niche or like kind of low key kind of thing. I'm not gatekeeping anything. Just to be clear, I haven't even been a fan of it for the longest, but I definitely was before the animation. And now that said animation is out, I'm still hearing and seeing the same things. And now I kind of want to just talk about how much I love it and kind of share how I see it. Because like I said, people thought it was weird, it was bizarre. And although it could be at times, the biggest gripe that has never left my head that I've been wanting to talk about for the longest are one of the biggest terms that people associate it with, and that is a gooner anime. Oh, come on. I can see it, but no. As mainstream as it is, or as it's becoming, the perception of it has always been skewed, but it is so much more. And that's why I'm here, basically. Again, to talk about how much I love it, yeah, but also to share how I see it and just kind of take a deep dive into this movie and into this arc while I can. So before we get into it, leave a like on the video, leave a comment, let me know what you thought about the REZE ARC film, and subscribe, please and thank you. And let's get into it, shall we? See, now that I'm doing this, now I know why I don't make these type of videos, because I have no idea where to start. But the movie overall, God, it was brilliant. It's painful, but brilliant nonetheless. It is a beautiful film, from the animation to the music, like I said. God, the music. Even the voice acting, I'm not sure about any of you out there, but I, for one, watch dubbed just because I like to see and understand the characters in my own way. And when it comes to these dubbed voice actors, I think they nail it. And now whenever I'm picturing these characters in my head, or if I'm reading the manga, I have a voice to put with that face and name. From the very beginning to the very end, they masterfully crafted this movie, and they truly delivered. I never really questioned why it was a movie in the first place, and not just a second season. Maybe it was something to do with the budget, or the success of this first season. I guess that kind of goes hand in hand. But either way, they did a great job at the pacing of this film, and they were able to translate, incorporate, and express everything in that manga arc into a movie and then some. And they did it with such love and such passion, such they did it incredibly well. And now here I am with this movie being one of, if not my favorite movie, period, which is crazy. I've seen a lot of movies, but also not a lot of movies, if that makes sense. I've always kind of been in my comfort zone, my little bubble, but this is definitely up there. But actually getting into the events of the film, it starts off in a kind of manga stylized scene with Denji and the door that he cannot open no matter what, which is a recurring thing in this story, which I will not go into detail about because spoilers, duh. But it really does start out right after the events of the first season, and it has all the significance to the plot and everything before and everything that comes afterwards. And then Denji wakes up, and then we get this kick-ass OP, and oh my god, it has been on repeat in my head, just cycling around, and obviously in my headphones, because I basically live with them on, and Iris Out is nothing short of ear candy. Don't try and out me though, because I already said it, I watched dub, I have no idea what the fuck they're saying, but but you better bet your ass that I do know the translation of it and the actual meaning of the lyrics. So not only is it meaningful and really emotional, but it also just is crazy, intense, and very catchy. And it also pairs well with the OP animation that we get, plus any other covers that we've gotten. All in all, chef's kiss. But after that, we do unfortunately lose Power for the arc, and that is the only downside of this arc. I love Power, love that character so much. But to be fair, honestly, we don't need her. This arc does not need her. Love that girl, sorry to say, but it is the truth. But on the other hand, we do also get the Shark Fiend. We get Beam. And Beam is something that I'm going to dive into a little bit in this video. Because Beam, oh, what a man. I can't even lie. I would say Bomb, obviously. But he is the MVP of this arc. We all know it. We all have seen it already now. Either on paper or, or in the cinema. He really is the hidden gem. And that's something I'm going to get into. Because off the bat, Beam is obsessed. He is worshipping Denji. Or should I say, Lord Chainsaw. And Denji being Denji, he immediately is put off by it. He's like, he wants nothing to do with Beam. Meanwhile, Beam is fanboying out over being in his mere presence. And although it is much deeper than him just being a fan of Lord Chainsaw, it's acknowledged almost immediately. And Denji questions it, and Makima even responds, telling him maybe it's the resemblance. And seeing them side by side, you could tell that there are similarities. And Denji and Beam kind of reflect each other. Not only physically, because they do have like contrary colors, they have the sharp teeth, they have basically the same hair, just paired with the prior. They both share that devil blood. Beam, being the Shark Fiend, has a whole thing for blood, and he even goes out straight up eating anyone and anything in sight. Something similar to Denji that I will not go into detail, because that's much later down in the line. But if you know, then you know. But speaking of, you can't really see how Denji and Beam reflect each other until the story pans out. If you dive into Beam at this exact moment in the story, you can't really understand how they do until Denji's story follows out and all the events occur afterwards. So if you want to look at it like this, Beam is kind of a reflection of Denji in the present and in the future post-arc. Upon meeting Beam, or at least Beam meeting Denji, he's immediately there. Since the first time they meet, Beam stays by Denji's side the entire time. And now I'm curious, I wonder if he watched the movies with Denji and Makima. I'm not sure, but we'll get into that. But Beam does stay by his side the entire time. His loyalty is there, his trust is there, his devotion and passion is there. Which, with that being said, his passion also does go hand in hand with his current mission. And they kind of help each other out. Pretty similar to Denji, actually. But through the course of this entire arc, Beam is there for Denji. He simply allows him to live, and he's there immediately when he is needed. His passion is also there in what he sees as Lord Chainsaw. And every time the opportunity arises, Beam does put himself out there and sacrifices himself and allows himself to be vulnerable for the sake of this connection. Which is something pretty similar to Denji and what he deals with when he goes out of his way and tries to learn how to swim. Which is also Beam's kind of whole thing. You know, Shark Fiend, he swims, and then when it's Denji's turn to do so, he opens up his heart, he learns about it, he accepts it, and we finally have him actually acknowledging his own heart and this embrace with Beam. Which, by the way, thank God, because we get one of the most kick-ass team-ups ever, and it is so badass. This Chainsaw Shark team-up that we get is so goddamn cool, and it brings about some of the best fighting moments. Not only in this arc, but I would say the whole story overall. It is just so fun. And the animation delivered it with such justice. It was so cool. But hopefully that makes sense, because it also kind of sounds like Beam not only reflects Denji, but also Denji's heart. Like, he reflects Pochita in a way, kind of. However you want to translate that. But now we can move away from Beam a little bit and get into what's next. I love Beam, love that guy, cannot wait to see more of him. But when I did start speaking about him, I also mentioned the movie marathon, Denji's First Date. When I was consuming this for the very first time, I was so happy for this man. I cannot even exaggerate this. I was so happy for him and just seeing him finally get a win. But here I am, consuming it yet again, just this time on the big screen, and it is interesting. I don't know what any of you took away from this scene in particular, but if you couldn't tell by now, it really is a lot more than just surface level things when it comes to this story. Or like I said, it really goes as deep as you wanted to. But in this, we get to see Denji and Makima actually spend time together, outside of work hours, of course. And we get a glimpse into both of these characters, kind of. At least when it comes to the whole movie marathon. Also, how meta, with us as an audience watching them as an audience watching movies. I don't know. But the thing is that we get to see a little peek of the multitude of movies that they watch together and their reactions, their experiences, both individually, but also together. I can't really get into too much anyways without going into like spoiler devil territory, because I know that is a bad danger zone on the internet, and I don't want to spoil anyways. But for me, all I will say, genuine, question mark, maybe, maybe not. It is pretty convenient that Makima had the exact same reactions that Denji had, but then again, these are their own characters, and they all have their own individuality to them. So look back at that scene, sit on it, maybe drop a tear like they do themselves, and we'll move on. Because speaking of individuality, we're actually going to go to the next scene, which introduces a character that has none. Until the events of Chainsaw Man. Well, up until this. We've all read it or watched it, we know what happens. Once that said date ends, it starts downpouring. Rain meets boy, boy meets phone booth, and then a little after, phone booth and boy both meet girl. And us as the readers, the watchers, the viewers, the audience also meet this girl, and that is REZE. Or the Jane Doe, or the Bomb Devil, or if you want to call her one, a guinea pig. But in this moment, we meet REZE, Denji meets REZE, we get to see their first interaction, and the rest is history. In pages, in animation now, and also replaying in my head. As well as one of the most romantic scenes that this story has ever seen thus far, and that is obviously the little flower delivery from Denji. But as romantic as it is, above all else, it is raw, it is genuine, and it is human. All concepts which these characters are foreign to. We are all aware of REZE's intentions, and why she didn't act out in the first place? Who knows? Unless it was this. Or this just caught her eye, and she decided to entertain it a little longer. Who knows? You can take a guess, but still, either way, the introduction of this character also brought about a lot of different emotions and feelings and conflicts within both of these characters themselves. This, as well as the events that follow, are a core part of the story, the core part for both of these characters. At moments like these, this arc is a staple part of Chainsaw Man. Once said arc is done and over with, REZE admits to all of it being a ruse, and all she ever wanted really was the chainsaw heart. But to me, personally, the only ruse that was there for me was when she was saying it was all a ruse to begin with. REZE fell for Denji, and you cannot convince me otherwise. He fell for her the same, and from the first interaction, it is a moment of connection, it is a moment of genuineness. And we watch it play out, and we watch it form into something more. As much as this arc makes Denji acknowledge himself and reflect on himself in a way, it also is right there with REZE. REZE, just like Denji, grew up with nothing. Just like Denji, she never even had the option to live her life herself. Matter of fact, she probably had it even worse. Well, probably? Yeah, probably. But back to what I was saying, both of these characters mirror each other and their experiences, and the lives that they're living, or at least the lives that they've had to live. Denji was never raised, he was controlled and misguided, and groomed. Even at this point in the story, he is still being manipulated. And from what we know, REZE was never even given a chance to be raised in the first place. She was experimented on, she was programmed to become what she is. And that is a devil, a living weapon. But all of this goes beyond that. It's not just Chainsaw Devil meeting Bomb Devil, it's actually beyond anything devil, period. It's about Denji and REZE seeing each other for who they actually are, as people, sharing the experience together, and are actually able to embrace feeling human. And our boy here, well, we all know he yearns. He is a yearner in the purest form of the word. But something like this, something exactly like this actually, is an exact part of the dream that Pochita decided to follow along with and wanted to watch come true. So not only Denji is in it, but Denji's heart and Pochita, all in one, are seated for the ride. And it feels like he finally got his big break. But at the end of the day, this is Chainsaw Man, and things may blow out of proportion. But I see it as a break for REZE too. Yeah, I know, her intentions and everything that unfolds, but it only unfolds because REZE realizes that Denji doesn't want to leave. I don't know how she clocked him exactly, but she realizes that he likes someone else. God forbid she doesn't know who in this moment yet, but the fantasy that they were living in together kind of just crumbles down in this very moment. And I think that's why the flip switches, and that's why everything unfolds how it does. She's even reminded of it at the school when that whack job and the Typhoon Devil appear. And although we do get this gnarly look from her, she could be mad about anything, but I'd like to believe, and I do believe, that it is because of the reminder. Up until this point, she has had a genuine bond building with Denji, and she's basically been able to run away from the reality with Denji by her side. And it's really not until this roof scene that I think she hasn't thought about the chainsaw heart, not once. She went in for the chainsaw heart, found Denji's, and unfortunately had to snap back to reality, and oh man. And just goddamn, like I said earlier, it is very emotional. It sucks. Maybe it's like a right person, wrong time sort of thing. But it's also even worse when you learn about REZE's past and you realize that they're both controlled by like outside forces, kind of. Well, yeah, exactly. And she sees in this moment also that Denji is still being affected. I know I was just joking about it, but she doesn't even know it's Makima until the fight sequence. And then she realizes she never even had a chance to begin with. Oh, wait, yeah, sorry. Gotta watch my words. Sorry. But moving on, you know what? Fuck it. Fuck it. I'm gonna stay on topic, and I'm gonna stay on Denji X REZE. Do they have a ship name? I don't know. It's a canon ship, so I'm not sure how that stuff works. But next with them is the school and their little shared classroom experience together, which just brings them that much closer. It is so sweet. It's so cute. Big ass and all that. But obviously, after that, and after the whole freak show that I mentioned already, we get the pool. Oh my god. This scene. We get REZE and Denji naked. As well as the whole spider metaphor. But on top of it all, we get the most human experience between these two. Denji learning how to swim. REZE offering to teach him everything. Oh, my heart aches. Oh my gosh. But although all it looks like is them skinny dipping with each other, which is precisely what's happening, yeah, we all know that it is so much more than that. And it really is a moment of genuineness. It is a moment of purity. It is like I said, it is the most human experience that these characters have, and they share it with each other. Denji even says it himself. If he jumps in, his heart will go right in with him, and that is exactly what happens. Learning how to swim also comes with learning how to love in this scenario, and it is conveyed in such a pure, playful moment of intimacy between these two. And I know I keep saying it, but in a world full of devils, where these two are only perceived as devils themselves, this is the moment in which they share together, and it is just so human. Does that make sense? The minute Denji jumps and hits that water, the music blasts on. But in that moment, Denji opens up his heart, he accepts it, and he embraces it from there on out. Examples such as Exhibit A, everything with REZE, or Exhibit B, or Beam, where he actually embraces that team up and has him by his side, and we get that badass team up. But back to what I was saying, we don't really see much of REZE's thoughts in this moment, but we can obviously see what's happening. They're both stripped down to their skins, and we see them both at their most vulnerable. And it only gets realer, it only gets purer, and it only gets deeper. Physically, emotionally, mentally, but also not to mention, they are swimming. And REZE's weakness is water, which we see later down the line, thanks to this exact scene. And as fucking epic as it is, seeing it all unfold and all that go batshit crazy, seeing this moment of vulnerability between these two and the bond that they share in this moment, to be forced to come back later down the line in order to even have a chance to survive is heartbreaking. I'm not sure about any of you, but God, whew, it's rough. But I did just mention about them being, bare bones down to the skin, which is really important because one of the first things I mentioned in this video was how people perceive this series and how people perceive Denji. And whether you're a fan of the series or not, whether you know Denji or not, one thing has always been clear, whether you understand him or not, he has always been horny. He has been, and a lot of the series is sexualized and is sexual because of it. And like I mentioned way back when, that is one of my biggest gripes about this. But in this moment with him and REZE, it is the complete opposite. Yeah, they're naked, they're swimming together, but it is truly the complete opposite. It is, like I said, intimacy. It is innocence. It is simply two kids enjoying themselves and having fun. And luckily, for the moment, they share that with each other. There is a little scene before Denji takes off his clothes, which I find hilarious, but it is nothing sexual. It is the complete opposite, if anything. They truly simply are just kids having fun. And we all know Denji has always been a kid. Since the very first page, since the first panel or frame of the series, regardless of whichever one you're consuming, he has always been, and still is, a kid. But throughout all those papers or pictures or frames or panels or whatever it is, we have grown alongside him. We've seen all these trials and tribulations, the lessons after lessons. Us as an audience are finally able to experience Denji legitimately living life. And whether it's as complex as the story is itself, or if it's even the most simple simplicities that we have available, we see how it all plays out, and we see how it really does shape and mold this character. Things such as owning a pet, like Pochita, or building up actual bonds, like with Aki, Power, and now in this arc, Beam. Getting to enjoy your favorite food, which Denji has an immaculate palate, and a choice of favorites, if I do say so myself. Or also in this arc, an actual friend, and also romantic interest, an actual partner in REZE. So many things all coming to him at once, all foreign, all fresh, but also all scary. And at the top of the list is love. It is special. It is passion. It is infatuation. It's connection. It's vulnerability. It is beautiful, and it hurts like hell, but it is human. And it is something that Denji longs for, much like any other human, honestly. But I think we all agree it really is a deep-seated, deeply strong, desired feeling that not many people come across, and it is complicated, to say the least. I know that's a hell of a word to describe it, but it just is. But in this case, Denji does not know what love is. He does not know what love looks like. He is so naive, and he is so inexperienced in life itself that he does not know what it means to be human. That's what all this growth has been about. All these experiences, all of it is him living life and just going day by day, hoping to see the next. He is just a kid, but also a kid that is so inexperienced and lost on genuine emotion and love that when it does come about and when it does present itself, he reacts in such a way that he sees as normal. And most of the time it does come out as something physical. And that's when we see him talking about wanting to touch boobs or wanting to have sex, yada yada. But in reality, it's to make up for the lack of understanding of what love is. And it really is the easiest and most simple way that he can kind of understand these desires. On top of him seeing it all as something simply normal. And his reactions that come about that are all physical come out because that is all he's used to. His entire life up to this point has always been about something physical, and even now it still is with him being Chainsaw Man, and everyone going after his chainsaw heart, literally. And not only is he so used to him and the world around him being something physical, he's also used to being alone. He is used to solitude and loneliness. And whether it's subconscious or not, maybe, either way, he has found acceptance in the only place that he has been able to find a home, and that is the bottom of the barrel, which is something that he is desperately trying to get away from and escape in this story. Like I said, whether it's something complicated, whether it's something simple, Denji just wants to live a normal life. And it is so tragic because he cannot. But he is the way he is because of it. And we have all these characters and this world around him that is forcing him to live this life the way he is. And even so, it's more than anything he's ever had before. So it's, oh my god. It really is tragic. But I fucking love him. I love Denji so much. And I think I do have somewhat of an understanding of his character. I know I probably repeat myself a lot or kind of over-explain a bit, but whatever, fuck it. I love Denji to bits, and I even relate to him on a lot of stuff pretty heavily. Some things I can say, some things I won't. At the end of the day, we are all human, and we all go day by day simply trying to figure it out. And that goes back to what I was saying about why Denji is so relatable. Not only does he want, but he yearns, like I said way earlier. He desires to live a normal life. One that he can enjoy, one that he can embrace and actually have his own freedom in. The boy wants love. He wants that genuine connection. But it comes out as him fixating on the only thing that he knows, the only thing that he understands. He loves that shit-ass bread, but really, it's just any food that he can enjoy that is far, far away from whatever hunger and whatever starvation that he went through long before. And the same could be said even having a roof over his head and having just a bed. Just a damn bed. Which is also why, even though I didn't really bring up Aki or Angel Devil in this video, much or at all, really, but when that conversation comes up, Denji ends up choosing the City Mouse, which I cannot blame him for it. But you know, if you're asking me, I don't know. I'd have to think about it, probably. I can see both sides, but it all depends on what you prefer. But Denji, we know what he prefers, and I love him for it. I'll say it over and over again. I love Denji, I love Chainsaw Man. Just this series overall has done numbers on me. And I am oh so grateful for Fujimoto. And of course Mappa for even adapting the series to begin with. But anyways, moving on. What else have I not talked about? I know I could talk about REZE's the D word, the death. Ow. God damn it. Why? There could be no other way. I know. I'm well aware, but holy shit, is that crushing. Nice touches, by the way, with all the crows and the rats and you know, that run amok everywhere to really tell you and sell the idea that Makima is out there listening. If it wasn't obvious by the end of the movie. But I could talk about Makima some more as well, and the somewhat maternal figure that she has over Denji and in the story. But I feel like I might go into a little bit of spoiler territory, so maybe not. But I'm also glad that we do get a look at REZE and her past, her actual character, outside of what we've seen in the events of the film. It tells us so little, but also tells us everything. Thanks to Kashibe, the movie ends with Power returning in the cafe, with Denji still waiting, with the flower in the glass still resting, with one final petal. Oh, ouch. There's so much symbolism as well that I haven't even gone into. Like I said, the series is really deep, and it can get as deep as you want it to. Like the white coloring of the flowers representing the love, contrasted to REZE's flowers in some promotional pictures, or whatever it is that I'm remembering. But it is a little contrast with her ill intent, even though it may not, you know, act out as intended. It still is there, and all the symbolism and significance of all of it is still there. And oh god, what a movie. what a story overall. Like I said, I love it. I love Chainsaw Man so much. And I'm not so much glad that it is becoming mainstream, but more along the lines of just more eyes and ears coming across it and having a chance to actually consume it and experience it just like the way I have. Like I've been explaining this entire video, which has been longer than I wanted to go for, honestly. But I yap. I'm a certified yapper, and who is surprised, honestly? And also, of course, shout out Aki Hayakawa and Angel Devil. I didn't really mention them that much in the video, because obviously they have their own development going on and their own story, but my focal points were obviously Denji, REZE, the overall arc, and the series itself. So I said what I had to say, but man, oh man, do I have to give my flowers. Love Aki, love Angel Devil, love that. But now that I'm thinking about it, including Angel Devil, the arc is really just full of devils finding a way of life and accepting themselves for who they are and wanting to live life and embracing it, which is something that we should all do, honestly. I know I said what I said about Denji, but Fujimoto is a master crafter at what he does, and the story itself is relatable, depending on how you look at it. But I think that's it. I think I said what I wanted to say and just kind of talk about Chainsaw Man and how much I love it and how deep it can get, how I see it. There is more, and it could have been a whole lot more, but the video is long enough, and it could have been a lot less. but fuck it. Thank you all for watching, and I hope to see you return. I don't really do videos like this often, or ever, really. But Chainsaw Man, it's Chainsaw Man, so hear me out. Let me love it. But again, thank you for watching. Leave a like, leave a comment. Let me know what you would choose between the city mouse or the country mouse, and that's all she wrote.
What we do
So death
here
do
is
us part,
go
my friends.
back.
Ghosty, out.
Bruh.